Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's TPM5 here, back again with another NBA video. In today's video, I'll be talking about the Toronto Raptors, why I believe they could be making a return to the playoffs. So without further ado, let's get started. Last season, the Toronto Raptors had a 27-45 record, which was 12th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they did deal with some health and protocol issues with no player on their roster playing more than 56 games, which was Pascal Siakam. He had another pretty good year as well, averaging 21.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. I'd like to see him add to his arsenal on offense a bit. I think he gets trashed for doing his spin moves, which I think is a bit harsh. But he's still someone that can develop and can get a lot better, and he's come a long way since he first entered the league as a very raw prospect. Now, Fred VanVleet was another guy that was really good as well. Now, he played 36 minutes a night, but was averaging 20 points per game, along with 4 rebounds and 6 assists. He's a very key player. Now, the key loss for them was Kyle Lowry. But getting Goran Dragic, who they want to trade, is a decent asset. And then, I think that getting Achua also helps their center spot, which was kind of weak towards the end of the year. But let's just have a quick break, guys. I make NBA content 2 to 3 times a week. I'd heavily appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to comment. Feel free to like the video, and let's continue. So, as you guys know, the Raptors won the title in 2019. Kawhi left, and they were still competitive last year as they finished second in the Eastern Conference, but they faced a pretty significant drop in their defensive rating, which could be part of the reason, along with the injuries and health and safety protocol they faced. Now, I think that they probably did win the Kyle Lowry trade in terms of, he was always going to leave. You had someone who can pass on and trade again, being, Dragic. You have someone like Achua who you can build with in the future. I like him. He's got a lot of upside. I like what he was doing for Nigeria, I believe, in the Olympics. But, I think they didn't do too bad with that deal. Now, it will be interesting to see if they go back to Tampa or if they go back to Scottiabank Arena. Now, I think that's probably a 5-win swing in itself. Like, that might sound dramatic, but if they go back to Toronto, I think they can win 5 more games guaranteed on top of whatever they're going to do. Staying in Tampa isn't good. I think it would be funny because Scotty Barnes is from Florida, so he probably wouldn't mind staying near there. I bring this up because if I'm not mistaken, 20 out of their first 35 games are at their quote-unquote home arena, so they can really set themselves up in a good start of the year. Which is something they didn't quite do last year. They were kind of hovering around 500, so that's why I was talking about the arena. But I think Scotty Barnes is another guy that could probably come in and play a pretty big role. Now, I might cop some heat for this. He does have a bit of boom or bust potential, at least in my eyes. Now, he's a very unique player. The 6'9", forward with a 7'2" wingspan. He's a versatile defender, obviously, given that wingspan I just mentioned. He actually has a pretty decent playmaking ability for a guy of his height. Now, he was averaging a pretty passable 4.1 assists, which is actually more than the rebounds he pulled down. Now, he also averaged 1.5 steals. So, usually when guys come in, they tend to make an impact defensively, and I think that at the bare minimum, he can contribute and help them defensively, which was an issue that they did have last year, as I mentioned before. I think they were 15th in the league in terms of offensive rating. Now, I think that he has, a bit of offensive work to do. He needs to fill out his offensive game. He's a bit robotic from, three-point land. He shot 27.5% from there, and, he wasn't too good at that. At least he took 44 attempts, so it's not going to be a Ben Simmons situation where he's scared to shoot them, and if you make a couple here and there, or you get hot in the night, it can make it easy. But, I think that he should be decent for them. They also managed to retain Gary Trent Jr. and Kem Birch. Now, Kem Birch was attracting some interest due to his play during the year, and obviously it was important for them to keep Gary Trent, just because he's a young guy with potential, averaging 15 points and shooting, can shoot the threes pretty well, but it was good for them to keep him. I think if you look at the roster, it's actually fairly deep, and I think this isn't the team that's going to be picking for in the lottery, but it was probably good for them to bottom out and add someone to the roster. So I'm just going to go through a projected depth chart, and then, and then we'll continue on with some other stuff. So at point guard, at this point, you probably have Goran Dragic, who averaged 13 points and 4 assists last year. He can still be very serviceable if they do keep him. Now, Fred VanVleet can play the 1 or the 2, but I'm just going to put him at shooting guard. Now he was averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. You know, he worked very hard to get to the NBA and he's a very good player. OG Anunoby, who's a young guy that can impact on both sides of the floor, 16 points, 16 rebounds per game last year. He's good. He'll be great for them. Pascal Siakam was averaging, as I said before, 21 points and 7 rebounds. He could probably shoot threes a bit better, but I think that he still has, he can still improve. He's still, I don't think he's in his prime yet, so there's still room for improvement. At this point, you can pick between Precious Achiuwa, Boucher, or Birch at center. And then you have Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent Jr., Yuta Watanabe, and Precious Achiuwa and Chris Boucher if you don't want to put them on. Now Boucher was averaging 14 points and 7 rebounds. And then you have guys like Isaac Bonga, Freddie Gillespie, and also Sviatoslav Mihaliuk on the end of the bench. And I just realized, I don't know how, but I forgot Scotty Barnes. He would be the backup small forward / power forward on the bench. So Yuta Watanabe goes onto the no minutes section of the roster. Overall, in my opinion, I believe the Toronto Raptors will be back in the playoffs. I think they'll be a competitive team in the East with probably a first round competitive series being a pass mark. Now don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.